Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Arsenal 101 Premier League review show. Joined today by my learned colleagues Drew and Darren. How you doing, gentlemen?
All good.
I've never been called learned before, so I'm. It makes a change from most of the names that my missus calls me. So
let's just put it this way: you've learned a lot about the art of football following the nation's top team. So, in your privileged position as champions, you should be referred to as the man who has learned the most. I've obviously had my schooling with the Wenger years. Darren's had his schooling with the Ferguson years. You're now receiving the same from Pep Guardiola. So I think the title suits.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah.
And we learned something new this week as well. We learned how to cheat Atletico at their own game.
That is exactly an excellent example of how you've learned, because a couple of years ago you might have lost that game.
Honestly, I could have crapped through the eye of a needle at about 90 minutes up until Savic lost his head and tried to pick Phil Foden up by his head. I genuinely thought we were going to lose.
The thing is, you watch them play, and I don't understand why they play that football. They're playing football as if they've got Burnley players. They've got some talented footballers that can keep the ball.
I genuinely got into it on a football forum yesterday about, because I got told, look, Atletico are a small club, they don't have money. This is the football team owned by the Dali and Wanda Group. Their owner is worth nearly as much as Sheikh Mansour. Oh, they got money. They spend that money.
Yeah.
The thing is, they've also got Simeone, who was a thug as a player.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to say it like this. He clearly has a Yoda Jedi mind trick going on, because he gets those guys into some kind of zone where it's, forget that I've got mad skills and I could run around half of these players. Let me just engage in the dark arts. Because
the most bizarre thing was, we saw a fight kicking off and Luis Suarez walked the other way and wanted nothing to do with it. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Luis Suarez did not want to get involved in the shit.
Oh, dear. So, Darren, you've had a couple of weeks off. How are you, fella?
Yeah, mate, I'm good. I'm depressed, and I'm not going to watch this again.
Mate. You've got the oxymoron of having a terrible football team, but the joy of having a beautiful new daughter.
What's that?
Is it? Am I not right? Have you not?
I've got a son.
Son, sorry, my bad.
That's all right.
So yeah. So let's get into the show. Welcome everybody in the chat. Cool K. We're, as I said, we'll wait for hopefully Andy and Neil will join us. But we'll get straight into the last week's actions. And have a look at some of the fixtures. I don't know if Apollo's there and is able to give us any of those fixtures, but
we need to brush past the Tottenham result quickly, because if we do that when Andy comes on, we are going to be talking about Tottenham's attacking prowess for hours.
So last
week,
we were talking live, or we were talking live, and Newcastle had just beaten Wolves. Thanks, Apollo. So that game was the Friday night game. Chris Wood with a 72nd minute penalty. And I mean, that was the fulfillment of a culmination of games where Newcastle have found an ascendancy and have managed to pull away from the bottom three. I think they're now some 9 or 10 points clear of the bottom. And maybe 1 or 2 games away from being safe for the season. So, whereas I thought that the money wasn't going to make a difference, it obviously has. They've bought good quality players. But I'm going to take my hat off to the manager, because I think he's done a sterling job in bringing those characters together, bringing in those egos and the different playing styles and integrating it into a working system. Guys, what's your thoughts?
Right. I do not like Newcastle, and this has got nothing to do with the money now. I've had a slight issue with Newcastle since the 90s. But I've got to be honest, Eddie Howe has actually managed to work multiple miracles there. He's made Joel Linton look like a player.
Eddie Howe is a serious manager. He's a serious manager. I mean, reports behind the scenes is in his break, him and his assistant manager were up and down the country watching, all sorts of football. He's a serious manager. They've got a team with no budget in the Premier League, staying in the Premier League. And look, they went down, but if you've got no money to spend, the most likely
they stayed there though for 3 seasons, with a net spend of only £5 million. That's all they spent overall.
It's the classic. If his name was Eddie Howdinho, he would probably be Chelsea's next manager.
Yeah,
but it doesn't work like that, and it's weird how these British managers don't get the shots they deserve. It's like to put it in perspective. So obviously in the Man United run-in was Brendan Rodgers, and then obviously there was a little bit of talk about Brighton's manager. I know that's probably never going to happen, but as soon as Brighton lost a few games, it was like, oh, he's gone out of the running because of their recent form. I was like, he is manager of Brighton, and he does get Brighton to have 25 shots a game, and he is manager of Brighton. So if they haven't got a good striker to put those shots away, what can he do?
Yeah,
it's a weird perception of management. Like if they, it's like if they come from abroad, then they're special.
Yeah,
they deserve a lot more chances.
To be fair as well to Potter at Brighton, I mean, he's made a couple of decent signings, but then he had to go out and sign Danny Welbeck.
Exactly.
So it shows you the miracle of the job he's doing. Because again, when Welbeck plays, he don't look bad for Brighton at all. Yeah. He looks like the player that we saw when he first started out at United, which surprises me.
But as a manager, surely your job is to make sure the team don't concede many shots and have chances. You can't do much more else than that if you've not got the strikers to put them away. And from what I hear, Brighton have at least sort of 10 to 15 shots a game, and they never put them away. So if you're not going to put them away, then it's not the manager's fault, is it?
No.
So, strange one. But yeah, he's doing a good job.
So I'm going to let you go, Darren. Talk to us about...
Is it Arsenal 1, Brighton 2 next?
I'll let you talk about Everton, Man United. Obviously, this is your part of the show, Darren. Talk to us. Tell us what your feelings are.
Well, it's intentionally going to search for streams. The last Manchester United game I watched this season, I said this before the Everton game. I said if what happens, I think it's going to happen, then it's the last game I intentionally watch. I am going on a stag on Friday or Saturday, and I know they all want to watch the Man United Arsenal game at the lunchtime, so I'll probably be watching that one. But other than that, I ain't watching this bunch of losers anymore. I mean, they're on the beach. And I mean, even Ranić, which I'm very surprised at, still playing Pogba. God knows why. What benefit are we getting from it? He's leaving. He's useless. He's always been useless. And we're playing him up top as well. I don't really know what more to say. It's just been pretty depressing, to be fair. And it's not about winning things. It's about just liking the team, liking the players, seeing that they want to commit to it. And there's none of that. And it's, it's pretty bad. Even the only shining light's probably Fred. Playing in a forward role. Who'd have thought, eh? He's actually been half decent. But that's how far we're falling as a club and as a team. And Ten Hag, good luck to you, mate.
So, good Drew, luck. I mean, you must be enjoying Darren's pain. What's your thoughts on the Man United situation?
So, to a degree, I am enjoying it. But I'm enjoying it for
against each other, though, isn't it? It is better to have the good teams play.
This is the thing, right? To me, a lot of what City have achieved in the past decade is almost hollow because I wanted to be beating United and beating them in close races. And yeah, we've had a couple of close races with Liverpool in the past couple of seasons. I would rather it was United that we were pipping to the title, because we've been the poor neighbours for so long. It would make it so much sweeter. But also, I think the Premier League needs a good United team.
And that, I'm not being biased, but we are the brand of the league, and it's because of what's happened over the last 20 years. Are the eyeballs on the Premier League when Man United play, which drives me insane. It drives me insane that a Man United game in the FA Cup gets put on over some of the other. It's mad, the decisions that are made around Man United. And I think it costs us a lot in terms of we're played at all weird times of like the week, just so everyone can watch us. It's just really mind-boggling weird. But the league does need a good Man United. But I know everyone else is like, fuck you, you've won so many times, piss off. We love being you 8th and 7th. But I do think it'd be better if all 4 of us at the top there were going at it and the best team wins. But
yeah, there's a question there for you, Darren. What's the priority?
God, Jesus Christ.
Half of the table.
Yeah, where do I start? The priority for me is I just want to see progression and a team that I like. I just want to see, like it's not about winning things. Eventually, hopefully, it's about winning things. But like Liverpool, when they first started under Klopp, they weren't winning things, but the fans liked them. You could see the style of play, you could see the effort they were putting in, you could see a way that they were going. And yeah, they lost close games, but by narrow. But you could see the direction they were going in, and that's what I'm hoping from. But the priority is where I think the proof will be in the pudding under Ten Hag is the decisions around transfers. I mean, if I see Ronaldo stay and Pogba sign up, then that just tells me that Man United are going to continue their way of what they've been doing things, and will continue our direction. If I see that he says, Ronaldo, you could go, Pogba, you can go, and then start seeing those, and then the players that come in, I don't necessarily want them to be the best players in the world, the best names in the world. I want them to be young, hungry people on the cusp. I think I said in the group earlier today, Liverpool's transfer activity has been next to flawless because they've signed players. I know now they're all star names, and Salah's one of the best players in the world and has been for a few years. But who was Mohamed Salah before that? It was a guy playing half decent in the Italian league.
He was a massive risk when Liverpool brought him in.
And
he'd already played in the Premiership at Chelsea and looked bang average.
Exactly. So Van Dijk, he was steamrolling the Scottish League, but the potential was there. He was young, he was hungry, he's on the cusp of something big. And I think they bought so many players like that. And when you get a group of players like that together, that are young, that are hungry, that are good enough to make the next step, then it builds something and it works. But if you keep buying stars, then if the proof will be in the pudding with the transfer dealings, if you see like that, I think Arsenal are doing a good thing like that as well. Your right back, who's your right back? But he looks young, he looks hungry, and he wants to win. Yeah. I mean, your team's going to do better if you've got a lot of players like that.
Not with their manager, they won't be.
I'll move on swiftly then. So let's talk about Arsenal at home to Brighton, a game where Arsenal are basically put themselves in a situation where the team picks itself, because you've left yourself a squad of 18 players, and in that 18, if you have 3 injuries and a couple of them are youth players, well, you're going to have to play the same core 11, with the exception of maybe an Eddie Nketiah and Nicolas Pepe. So Arsenal have made a rod for their own back. They've even let a really good midfielder leave in the January transfer window on loan in Ainsley Maitland-Niles, and found that now, all of a sudden, a couple of injuries are coming to Tierney and Partey. We haven't got enough players. And we let Aubameyang leave to Barcelona, still paying his wages. And guess what? The guy who's meant to be standing in and doing the job that he wasn't doing is now also not doing that job in Lacazette. And so we've got no players in which to say, oh, we'll take him out and bring that in. So Arsenal have made a rod for their own back. It's
But
go on.
I do like what you've done in the transfer market. Years gone by, you'd have bought crap, and that crap would be sitting on 100 grand a week.
You know,
it's about building. It's about slow blocks and building.
I get that. I think that, Darren. So. And I think what you have to do is, you know, look, everybody gets a dib at most of the players that Arsenal are buying. You know, anybody could have bought an Aaron Ramsdale in the summer. Let's be honest. Yeah, it wasn't like he was tearing up trees and the whole world with Real Madrid and Barcelona and Bayern Munich were all jumping out saying, oh, we've got to have Aaron Ramsdale. No, Tomiyasu was a secret. We stole him under the nose of Tottenham and he's come up and he's become a dream. Yeah. Ben White was not tearing up trees at Sheffield United. Yeah. And actually, he suddenly started not looking as infallible as he did earlier on in the season.
I'll tell you, he's been terrible since I put him in my fantasy football team.
See?
To be honest, I've been the kiss of death to quite a few players this year.
I'm not saying it was a bad transfer window, but what we've done is we've bought wisely, we've bought some good players, and they've done well to a point. And many teams will be in that ilk where they say, oh, we did well for 6 out of the 7 months of the season. But Arsenal are in that. One more month now, 8 games to play.
But Tony, don't you think that Arteta's probably, like Klopp did, and like I'm fingers crossed hoping that Ten Hag will, he's not thinking, even though it'd be absolutely amazing, and obviously financially it's better, but he's not thinking this year. He's thinking, if I get the right players in, maybe not this year, maybe not next year.
Yeah, but it's not easy to get the right players in when you look at your budget. When you look at your budget, that's what you got to think about. I mean, going back to Liverpool, we don't spend loads and loads of money on players, and we take big risks. But then that's also down to the sporting director and the talent scouts out there and looking at these players, right? That's why we've done so well with players that, I mean, as I said, you look at Salah, you look at Mane, you look at Virgil van Dijk. They weren't tearing up leagues before they came to Liverpool. Yeah, they just happened to
made this point before you came on.
Right type of player. They just happened to be the right type of player that Klopp was looking for. They were scouted from early, and Liverpool took the risk because you look at some of the other teams. They're going for big names, and they're getting the big names. I was always vexed at one time when I thought, hold on, why don't we get this player? Why don't we get that player? Everyone's going for them. Yeah, and every time we didn't get that type of player, I was a little peed off. Because I thought, you know what, we've missed out on a good player. We're not going to move forward. But he's proved us wrong. He's proved.
And Tony, if they've gone to Arteta and said, like, you can have these players as backups for what you currently got, he's probably looked at it and gone, no, I'm in this for a project. I want to buy the right players with the right attitudes, the right age. I'm not buying shit. I'm not buying.
I mean, the funny thing is, no point, Darren, is you kind of go, does he know how much time he's got? Because I get this project, I get this process. You know, everyone says trust the process, and I get it. But do you actually know that you've got 2.5 years in which to work a project and make it workable? Because guess what, Darren? If he comes in, if Arsenal flop in the next 8 games and we come 8th, everybody, and I mean everybody, will turn around and say it looked good up to a certain point when you were 4th in the league.
It happened to us, didn't it? It happened to us. Ollie was on a trajectory. He was buying certain types of players. He's playing a certain way of football. Then they picked the striker. Yeah, but we all know who he was.
You have to have the patience to trust in the process.
You don't get it, Neil.
You have to. No, I know. I do get it.
The one thing I'd say is,
it's taken 6 years to get where he's got. It's taken time. Yeah. Right. When we started bringing players in, we weren't setting the league alight. It took a while. Yeah. Klopp's been there a long time. Yeah. But it's starting to work out. You have to have the player, the patience. If you haven't got the patience,
you have to.
And you keep changing managers. That manager is going to bring in somebody else, right? So all of a sudden, the team that you had that was starting to gel, starting to get somewhere. They're now getting broken up again.
I'm gonna counter you on that one, Neil, because all I have to say is Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Everything you said becomes null and void because all the things you said a team shouldn't do, Chelsea have done and been very successful.
Tony, but Chelsea are a different beast with a different budget and different set of players. Exactly. They've got players like megastars across the pitch. You're in a situation where you are not going to beat City and Liverpool and Chelsea at a financial game. So what you've got to do is try and build a project, a plan, and hope it comes to fruition. It might not, because let's face it, the teams you're up against are unbelievable budgets and unbelievable managers. It's the same as Ten Hag. It's the same as every other team. Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, Man United should be winning it. Should be winning it." Hang about. The two best teams in the league got the two best managers in the world, and one of them has the biggest budget in the world. So, I mean, to beat them, it's going to take something very special. The only way I think Arsenal can do it is if they believe in a project and hope it comes to fruition. And,
I mean,
I'm not saying we're Chelsea, Bertram. I'm just counterbalancing the argument.
Chelsea have got
all you
enough
have to
players.
do is stick with a manager, and I'm trying to indicate that sticking with a manager is something that most clubs don't get the opportunity to just say, "Let me stick with it." Yeah. If Arsenal finish 8th, I don't think you can turn around and say stick with it. 3 years of finishing 8th outside of Europe does not an extension on your contract deserve, especially when you're the manager of Arsenal.
Yeah, so
he's not been there 3 years, has he?
He's been there 2.5 years at the end of this season.
So you get rid of Arteta at the end of the season, you bring a new manager in, then you're going to have to wait another couple of years before they start gelling.
Well, you should say that. It's really funny you should say that, because I'm a counterbalance your argument. Because guess what was happening at Tottenham up until the January transfer window? They weren't doing too well. They went and got Conte. Yes. They went and bought some really good players. And guess what's happening? They beat Man City and they look like mustard right now.
I'm just going to point out they beat us when Nuno was manager. So let's not put too much stock in that.
Okay.
I'm saying you got to look at who was there before, what they were doing before under that manager. Yeah. We know that there's a lot of teams out there that have a lot of player power. If they don't like the manager, they play shit until the manager. They play bad until the manager has been got rid of. Yeah, and then the new manager comes in, has to have the players on their side firstly, right? And if they do, then they've got to start saying, okay, which player am I going to keep this season? Who's doing well? Who am I going to keep on the bench? Who can I bring in the next window? And it's a rebuilding process again. So
and I'm glad you said that, Neil. I'm glad you said that, because clearly Mikel Arteta has a problem with managing players, because in the 2.5 years he's been at the club, a number of players has left under his tenure because they've fallen out with him. We've got great players doing things at other clubs. Guendouzi is mashing up trees in Marseille. He's now in the French. He's now in the French national team. The world champions. Hang on, let me finish. William Saliba is now one of the best midfielders in the whole of France. Yeah, and he's an Arsenal player. Lucas Torreira, Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
He's playing in France.
There's a player named Stefan Mavropanos. He's playing at Stuttgart. He's one of the best defenders in the whole of Germany right now. And Aubameyang, you know what happened there? There's a whole bunch of players. Nicolas Pepe, who is on statistics alone, and I know we shouldn't just talk about statistics, but he's one of the highest producing players we have in our team. And then, as my man is saying, as Stan Kroenke is saying, we're playing Xhaka, who's rubbish and has been rubbish for years, and we've never won anything with that player. So I'm just gonna say, I'm not saying that Arteta is the worst and he needs to be outed, but I'm just saying I don't think if he fails at the end of this season, he deserves to get a further year trying to work out a project which has failed 2.5 years under his tenure.
Right, I'm going to give a real honest opinion of Arsenal's major problem now. And as we know, I love American sports. I follow American sports. I love the whole Moneyball philosophy. It came from the Red Sox, right? Moneyball is something that has been applied to the way that Liverpool have been building their squad over the past 6 years. Liverpool have become very good at identifying talent, working out where to maximise it, and working out value of the players added over their replacements. Arsenal have also tried to do this, but when you're looking at a pool of players and you see the £50 million option, because you got burnt by Pepe for 72 million, and you go, oh, the £50 million option looks a bit too pricey. Oh, but I can get Lokonga for 25. Lokonga's not going to be as good as your average £50 million player you could have gone after. Arsenal are doing it the budget way. They're trying to do it the Kroenke way. One of the problems that they got with Kroenke is he wants to keep putting his money into his NFL franchise. He cares more about the glory that's going to come from the Rams than what he does about the glory of Arsenal. Arsenal is money coming in for him.
Let me just interject there very quickly, Drew, before you carry on. Stan Kroenke has put more money in the last transfer window than any other manager in the Premier League. Don't get fooled that he ain't investing in the club.
I'm not saying that he's not investing in the club, but his main priority is to make sure that the Rams win two Super Bowls in 2 years. That is his main priority. That pays him more money than what Arsenal's going to pay him. Arsenal's a long-term business investment. He'll put money in when he needs to. And let's face it, last transfer window, after the almighty effort that we had with the Super League last summer, he kind of was forced into a position where he's got to win back fan trust. So that means spending money. The problem is that money's not going to be spent well for multiple reasons. You're scouting, quite frankly, apart from Tomiyasu or Tomiyasu or however you say his name, aside from him coming in, Arsenal spent their money, quite frankly, poorly. If you're only going to spend £20 million on a player, you have to make sure that £20 million player is going to go on to become a £50 million player, which Arsenal scouts haven't been able to identify to do. When Liverpool go out and do it, aside from, say, Van Dijk, they spent 75 million on, most of the players that Liverpool buy are in that 20 to 50 million bracket. Liverpool can sell those players in excess of double the value of what they buy them in for a lot of the time.
But do you not think that's partly down to them having an absolute staggering manager that has built a team, so when they come in, they can fit in and into a flowing team that's performing well.
With Liverpool, Klopp is a major advert for them.
He's unbelievable. Like I mean, I think he's them two are unbelievable as men.
I also think though with Liverpool, it helps having Fenway Sports and their analytics network working with that squad, because what they do is they identify the best replacement players that they can bring in. It's like if Salah were to leave over the summer, Liverpool don't get better as a team, but I don't think Liverpool have a huge drop-off if Salah were to leave, because they've brought in players like Diaz, who he's not showing it just yet, but Diaz will be able to take on that mantle of a Salah because they spend their money well.
I thought Diaz was tearing it up.
No, he's not getting enough game time. When he does play, he plays good or great. He's not playing great every game, but he's doing really well. But then he's not getting game time.
Neil, can you have a word with your manager and get him a loan deal at Arsenal? Yeah, and we'll take Origi off your hands.
Right, one sec. Yeah, good. Oh, you're watching the feed. All right. So,
anyway, let's not go on about Arsenal. So Arsenal weren't at the races against Brighton, and Brighton deserved their 2-0 lead. They were more aggressive in the game, took their opportunities. But I was at the game, managed to see a worldie from Martin Odegaard, which brought the score back to 2-1. And it was at that point that Arsenal decided, you know what, we could actually get something out of this game and started playing football. Well done, Brighton, and well done, Monsieur Potter. So we're moving on quickly. Chelsea demolished Southampton. What can I say about that? It was just brutal Chelsea. When we come and reviewing Chelsea at the end of this season, we're going to be looking at Lukaku and thinking, what an absolute waste of money. So everything we've talked about so far.
I told you so.
Yeah, I'm going to hold my hands up here, and I rated him way too highly. He is shocking.
Flat track bully.
Werner's also been pretty shocking this season as well. I know he scored a couple of goals in the last few games, but that doesn't make up for the lack of games. Well, the games he's played in and just not done anything at all. Sometimes I kind of think that Chelsea actually go down to 9 and 10 men when him and Lukaku are playing because they're not doing anything. Yeah. They're just taking up a space on the field, but not actually doing anything useful. I'm glad because obviously I don't want Chelsea to win.
I watched this weekend. I watched this week in, week out, and when he went over to Inter, everyone was like, look what you've lost. You couldn't get the best out of him. I was like, he's dreadful. And you will see he's dreadful. And he's come here, and he's dreadful.
And the funny thing is,
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but there's a lot of rumours for Man City would have gone for him in the summer if they didn't go for Grealish. I really don't like Jack Grealish, but I'm going to say it. I'm actually glad we bought Grealish and didn't go after Lukaku now. I was genuinely raving about the season he just had at Inter, and I've seen him at Chelsea. Yeah, no, he's.
Can you imagine those beautiful passing patterns and getting to the byline and then off his knee,
just all that sweet intricate football and
then you pass out to the donkey and
it's ricocheted off of his ass into Rosette. What the hell has just happened?
I'll be honest with you. I didn't think you could get. I looked at Lukaku and thought he must be an absolute amazing upgrade on Timo Werner, because to me Timo Werner is a Brighton player, and it's worked out the opposite way because Timo Werner now looks like blooming Lionel Messi compared to Lukaku.
Anyway, let's not get ahead of us. Benzema, he could be Benzema.
yeah. So anyway, Southampton are playing Arsenal tomorrow, so I hope their form continues. Then we had Watford playing Leeds. Leeds, they looked like they were getting sucked in, and then they've got this really important 6-pointer, and they won well. 3-0.
Justified the sacking, haven't they? They've justified the sacking, I guess, even though it's harsh.
Yeah.
It was a weird one with Leeds, though, because they brought in, what's her name, Jesse Marsh, didn't they, from Red Bull. Yeah. And I'm not being funny. When I saw Red Bull play City earlier in the season, they were devoid of any cohesiveness, any game plan, or confidence. Yeah, he's walked in at Leeds.
And got them firing.
He's made them a better team. It's
interesting.
I can't fathom it whatsoever. So...
I think they're a bunch of honest lads, aren't they? Though, considering the amount of running they did across the seasons, they're a bunch of honest lads that want to be in the Premier League. And if you've got a team like that, add a bit of structure to what was already a hard-working team, then it's hard to beat a team like that. So there's a team there, definitely.
Good. Then we move on. Aston Villa at home got spanked by Tottenham, more namely by Young-Min Son
to me.
But
Harry Kane. 2 words, Harry Kane.
I actually want to talk about another player.
I fucking love that man.
Do you know what? The player I want to talk about, and I mentioned it earlier, is Kulusevski. To me, what a player. What a player.
I'm not being funny. He literally, every time I've seen him play since he came over, he has given the fullback he's up against an absolute nightmare. He made Cancelo look like a championship quality defender at best when he played against City, and up against Villa last week, he was genuinely just brilliant. Honestly, whatever Spurs have been tied into paying for him over the summer, it's going to be worthwhile. He is quality.
So, Andy's not here to talk about his team, but unfortunately for me, they do look a lock for 4th place right now because they're playing with such bravado, and they've got players that have just gelled. I think another unsung hero in that team is Bentancur. In the middle of the park, that kid just looks amazing. Greg, stop it.
Greg's having a dig. He's having a dig.
Listen, he's not the only one who's enjoying the revolution. I'm enjoying it as well.
Yeah.
So.
Poor Ralph.
Anyway,
Poor Ralph.
Yeah, you're literally picking on a nice elderly German. What the hell is wrong with you people? What has he ever done to you, man?
So moving
It's
on.
got to work with, guys. Come on.
Moving on. Brentford won 2-0 at West Ham. I think West Ham were already thinking about their midweek journey, but what a game for Brentford. Another great game for Christian Eriksen.
Yeah. He's turning it on, man. He's turning it on. He's got a lot to prove, hasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he's looking good. He's looking very good.
Wow, there's a few United bashers in the old chat there. See?
Yeah, this is the problem now, Darren. Like, this is what all Arsenal fans have got to celebrate at the moment.
That's all we can, yeah.
And the thing is, we still might finish above them. And we're that bad.
And that, Darren, is the reason why I don't go out and say trust the process. Because if United, from where they are right now, finish above Arsenal,
yeah, but let's put it into context.
Yeah, but the process is all that you have at this moment in time.
You just lost your left back, and you've just lost your engine room in Thomas Partey for the season. That's massive.
Yeah.
That is massive. He glues it all together. And
mate.
You don't have a choice with the process anyway. As in the process is. That's all you've got at this moment in time. You have to hope that it works. Yeah? So, I mean, you can bash the process as much as you want. It's what you have.
Yeah. I'd go with it.
And well done, Brentford, on beating Palace.
I like the team. I like the team they're putting together.
Yeah. And then Leicester won at home at Palace. That was a tough middle of the division game. Obviously, Palace were buoyant after beating Arsenal the week prior. But Leicester managed to come out and pull out a 2-1 win. Anybody have any thoughts on that game? Any players stick out for you on that one?
No, not really.
Okay, moving on then. So the next game was Norwich beat Burnley. Again, this was a relegation 6-pointer, but actually it works out not helpful for either team.
I mean,
that's his job as well.
Everyone that's getting relegated is relegated now.
Yeah.
Like, I think for the first time in about a decade, it's going to be more interesting at the top of the table than the relegation zone, quite frankly. Because normally...
So that does bring us on to the game of the weekend. What an advert.
Game of the season.
Game of the season. What an amazing advert for the English Premier League. I mean, as a neutral, I couldn't help but be totally overwhelmed with joy watching that game. Let me go to Darren, because let's go with the unbiased opinion.
Oh, this is like asking a man who you want to sleep with your wife.
I mean, the game
can be very unbiased.
The game depressed me because, and the same as the Real Madrid game the other night depressed me, because I looked at both teams, the centre of the park, and just a group of players that can keep the ball, take the ball in tight scenarios. They get out of like pressing within 3 passes. It's just amazing to watch. And it's the football I used to watch. And then I watch United and I think, Jesus, we haven't got one player in our team that can technically keep the ball, drop into pockets. No one who can work that hold midfielder role and get the ball from defence to midfield. It was just a magic game, magic teams. I mean, I hate them both with an absolute passion, but hats off. They're just two amazing, great managers, great men. It is, I mean, it's just good football, isn't it? It's good teams. It's
fantastic football.
And again, same.
Look, when you consider that our 2 teams, Darren, were the cream of the crop for a 10-year period, We ruled the roost.
Mate, you what? You had you like tickled our belly a couple of times, and the rest of the time.
To be fair, in that 10-year period, you did only kind of win 3 titles.
Yeah.
So.
We won 7, didn't we?
Okay.
That's what I mean. They tickled our backside a little bit, but
I'm gonna say it all was because of the FA Cup semi-final at Villa Park. Because had we beaten you at that game when we should have done with a penalty,
if buts and maybes, my friend,
mate, we would have won the treble that year had you not done it.
Anyway, let's come back to the game was amazing.
Aren't you supposed to be talking about City and
two great teams. Oh
my god, yeah, we've literally got to stop Liverpool from doing a quadruple, and they want to stop us from doing a treble. We're going to do it with classy football and not throw it back to the 90s, where it's just going to be a game full of bad tackling. This thing, all I've heard is, there's no passion and rivalry between the two teams. Oh, there's passion and rivalry, but both teams are full of footballers. And they want to play some football, and they want to beat each other with football, and it makes for a great spectacle.
What I'll say to counteract that argument is there's no leveler these days for the lower teams, and in terms of pitches, in terms of tackling, like back in the day, United would go away to some of these lower teams, they kick the crap out of them on a boggly pitch. You can't play football in that. Imagine that United team in those years playing on these carpets week in, week out. You'd have seen football.
Oh no, I'm just saying the rivalry between City and Liverpool. Yeah, people have criticised it because it's a bit friendly, but do you know what? I'd rather a great spectacle of football than kicking 7 shades out of each other like we used to get with Vieira and Kane. Keane, sorry.
Yeah.
Although don't get me wrong, I used to love watching both those players, but I'd rather see this beautiful game that's being played out at the moment.
I think a little bit of bite, a little bit of pre-match, a little bit. I like that. I like that sort of,
we got all our bite out the way midweek though. So
it's good to have that little bit of argy-bargy. But at the end of the day, me personally, I want to go and see a good game of football. I don't care who the sides are that are playing, as long as they play. And I walk away from watching that game and thinking, wow, that was amazing. That's all I want to see is good football, and we see more and more of it each season that goes. We see more and more of it, and we see it actually coming from other teams as well. It's not just Liverpool. It's just not just City. You see the lower teams playing that well, especially playing out their socks.
But it's the influence of the foreign managers, isn't it? More system-based football, as opposed to dropping deep, hit it long, tackle hard, fight hard.
More managers now are playing from the back.
Systems.
Yeah, and for me that works really well. I mean, if you've got a couple of defenders who can actually move that ball around and get that ball forward,
I do think there's a less of a leveler for the lower teams, and that's why there's a higher points, and that's why Liverpool and City can go on these winning rampages. Because let's face it, Man United, you used to turn up on a Tuesday night and pissing down rain, bobbly pitch, like cut up to fuck, beaten up, people, their defenders were allowed to hack you down. So these top players were less able to, play football around people. And that's where they could nick a result here and there. Whereas these days, no one can touch anyone. It's a carpet. Who's going to be better? The team full of £100 million stars or the team full of £20 million stars? It lends itself to
I'm just going to counter that with we've really struggled against weaker teams this season.
Oh, yeah, there's
Crystal Palace.
You're going to get the win, though.
Same here as well. We've dropped points to teams that we shouldn't be dropping points to.
When you say
we only drop points against teams that we should be beaten.
Exactly.
Apart from each other. So, which is going to make tomorrow very interesting because one of us has to win.
You have to have a winner tomorrow.
And trust me, City are not going to let tomorrow go to penalties. With our record in penalty shootouts.
You're going to sit back. I mean, after the league game, and you look at the way we played in the first half, seriously, you lot should have smashed 4 or 5.
Oh, no, we should have done. Yeah.
But you didn't.
Thing is, though, it's looking likely that De Bruyne won't be starting tomorrow. And if Walker starts, then he's been given a false leg from somewhere. Because he would.
I thought it looked like he broke it. It like twisted in a weird way.
His ankle went on a 90-degree angle when he went down.
And the bottom of his leg looked like it sort of twisted around a little bit.
Yeah, apparently it's not it's not massively bad, but it's like a high ankle sprain, so it could be anything from 4 to 8 weeks. So we might not see him again this season now.
Instead of running at 500 miles an hour, he's just running at 300 miles an hour. He's that quick.
Yeah. He's now just the second fastest player in the city.
Yeah. Jesus, that bloke.
You spent all that money on decent backups. The thing with Man City is, unlike Arsenal, if someone goes out, you've got more than enough resources.
Exactly. I mean,
we do have one slight issue actually. We've got to move Cancelo over to the right.
Cancelo is the one player that I would love to see at Liverpool on my day.
No, I'm not complaining about having to move Cancelo over to the right. The problem comes when we've then got to go, fuck, it's Nathan Ake, the backup.
But also with City as well, what lends itself a little bit better in terms of the defensive side of things, you keep the ball so much, so it doesn't tend to hit City as hard as other teams because you don't spend a lot of time defending. You spend a lot of time with the ball. Yeah. So
it's our biggest loss generally is if De Bruyne is out for an extended period of time.
Players like that are out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on, guys. I'm wary of time. As I said, fantastic game of football last week between City and Liverpool. No Premier League fixtures this week in the middle of the week because it was European football.
It's the Luka Modric show.
Did want to talk about very quickly a couple of the games. Obviously, Chelsea getting knocked out. They kind of look this time last week. I was on the show with Andy, and I said, "Don't rule Chelsea out." They were 3-1 down after the first leg. I said, "Don't rule Chelsea out." And what can I say? I mean, Benzema right now at 947 years old is just looking like some kind of, I don't know what
he's had a new lease of life. He's had a new lease of life.
No, I'm just going to maintain this, and I've been saying this for 15 years since he first came into the Marseille team as a 19-year-old. He is technically one of the worst football players I have ever seen. But for some reason, he is Mr. Right Place, Right Time. He always finds himself in a position to score goals. And it's not through some kind of like savant-style positioning. He literally just ends up with the ball in the right place.
I take it you've not watched Aaron Wan-Bissaka then? Did he slip the net from your viewing pleasure?
The problem is I can't criticise Aaron Wan-Bissaka when you've got Harry Maguire in your back line.
Exactly.
But I can't believe the name that's come out of your mouth is Benzema. I mean, Luka Modric. I mean, what a man, what a player.
Modric is a gloriously talented player.
He's got to be one of the best players in the world. The boy doesn't lose the ball. He doesn't lose the ball.
He's in that category of criminally underrated footballers.
Yeah.
There's him. There's Son at Tottenham. Those two in particular, they do not get enough love and respect from anyone.
Just go back to those stats, Apollo. I mean, guys, I know what you're saying about Modric being a great player, but look at these.
Yeah,
stats,
but it's always about goals and stuff. When you watch a Madrid game and you just see how the defenders will be panicking and they'll just see Modric with players around him and they'll just zing it into him and he'll just go, oh, drop shot, oh, okay, and he's out of the pocket and he's giving it, and it's like, fucking hell, how has he done that? And that type of play is as good as a goal. His football is as good as a goal. Like, it just gets you out of little pockets. He gets you out of little scrapes. Like, I think he's a magician. And Manchester United, I'd even sign him now. I'd stick him on a 4-year contract now.
To be fair, at 41, which is how old he'd be at the end of that contract, he would still be more effective than Paul Pogba has been for 4 years.
100%. I would stick him on a 4-year contract and say, sit in that midfield and show these boys how to play football. Show these boys how to play football.
Guys. Thank you very much. Okay, let's talk about the rest of that game then. So anybody else want to chime in on how an amazing game that was? Chelsea,
Felt sorry for him, unfortunate, really, weren't
Chelsea
they?
have everything to be proud of. I mean, the way they played. Seriously, I actually didn't think that Real Madrid was going to go through from when they started scoring goals. Chelsea were just on top. They had control of the game, and it's just a few moments where they lost it. To be honest.
Yeah.
Real Madrid have the same aura as Liverpool in the Champions League. You just think that they're always going to win the game, no matter how bad they're playing. You just think they're always going to win the game, especially at Anfield. It's the same aura. It's weird. In the Champions League, they just seem to be able to dig out results.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I think after the game, Andy said to me, "I bet you're probably quite happy about this because you will beat Real Madrid." We're better than Real Madrid.
Yeah, you are.
We have a better squad than Real Madrid.
Way better.
If you play them 10 times, you probably win 7. They win 3.
Yeah, but this is knockout
they'll
football.
Probably beat you.
Although we now know how to cheat our way to a victory.
Okay, so guys, I mean, I'm not.
Which I'm proud of.
About, the second 2 games because they were both draws and there was no surprises. Liverpool and Man City expected to go through, but let's talk very briefly about that semi-final matchup: Man City versus Real Madrid. Who is it? Villarreal versus Liverpool.
On paper, that should be a City-Liverpool final, but as
Villarreal are
they are one of the most awkward teams in Europe to play,
and that's the issue. The thing is, it just takes one mistake.
We've played them We've played them a couple of times, haven't we? We played them in the Europa League twice, I think, and it was just awful. It was just awful.
It's the Unai Emery.
It's like playing Burnley, but on crack. It's just it's disgusting. You turn up and you think, bloody hell, how are these in Europe? And you're dicking all over them. And then you lose 1-0, and you lose 1-0, and you think,
that's false sense of security,
how did that happen?
It's a false sense of security because as soon as you look at them, you kind of think, well, these guys ain't going to do anything, and you take your mind off it.
Which did anyone actually watch the Bayern Munich Villarreal game?
They had 2 shots of goal, didn't they?
I genuinely think though Bayern showed such a lack of respect to the game at Villarreal play. They keep it tight, but Bayern from the first minute, Bayern were acting like they were through. And they deserve to be out, quite frankly.
Dude, that's how they make you feel because they're so bad and you're so all over them. You think, well, this is easy. And then there's 1-0 and you're like, oh, shit. Like, where did that come from?
Let's move on, shall we? Thursday night, West Ham beat Lyon with a fantastic performance.
Rangers did all right as well.
They did really well. Rangers won. They had a good game. Leicester, they looked like they could win that competition.
Yep.
Leicester could actually win that competition because they're now through with Marseille.
So one of those 3 could win the Champions League next year. That's mad.
It's crazy.
That's mad.
Yeah. So yeah,
everyone was writing off Brendan Rodgers, weren't they? Because he'd had a little bit of a dip in form, and now he could get Leicester to the Champions League again. It's funny how it goes like that, isn't it? Like,
I mean, they are genuinely the best team left in the competition as well. I'm not being disrespectful to West Ham now, but
Leipzig decent.
Leipzig, I think they're 3rd in the German league at the moment. So, but it's it's very close at the top of the German league.
Yep.
I think their main focus is getting to Champions League next year, to be honest.
I mean, this has got to be their best route because, look, this is open. This competition is as open as it's ever been. I mean, Leipzig, Frankfurt, West Ham, Rangers.
Maybe Man United should have signed up that young West Ham manager. He looks quite good, actually. Honestly, the embarrassment just continues and continues. Fucking hell.
Okay, so no football today in the Premier League. Tomorrow is FA Cup games. Man City, Liverpool. We talked a bit about that. In the Premier League, we've got 4 games tomorrow, and we have
Come on, Saints.
2
Is it the
games
FA Cup
on
tomorrow? 3 o'clock.
3:30 Liverpool City.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
God, who do I want to win that?
let's do a little prediction section, guys.
Oh.
So what we'll do is we'll go. I'll give the game, and then it will be Drew, Darren, Neil, me. Drew, Darren, Neil, me. So starting off with your prediction, Drew, for Man City in the FA Cup semi to Liverpool at Wembley.
3-2 in extra time.
Okay, Darren, what's your prediction?
2-1 City.
Neil?
I'm going to go the other way. 2-1 Liverpool. It's going to be a different game, totally different game.
I'm going to go 2-1 in Liverpool as well. So the next game is
that's how
in
it is
Premier
then.
League.
Right.
So the next game is in the Premier League. It's the early afternoon kickoff at Tottenham Stadium. Tottenham at home to Brighton. Drew, what's your prediction?
4-1 Tottenham.
Darren?
3-1 Tottenham.
Neil?
I'm actually going to say 2-1 Tottenham.
And I'm going to go 3-0 Tottenham.
Andrew, it does, yes, to answer your comment, sorry.
Okay. The next game is the 3 o'clock kickoffs. All of these are 3 o'clock. Man United at home to Norwich. Darren, Drew.
He was so eager to get to me, wasn't he? To find out.
2-1 Norwich.
Oh. To be honest, they've got nothing to lose right now.
1-1.
Okay. Neil?
As much as I hate saying this, I actually think United are going to beat them 3-0. But Norwich are going to be a bit of a problem. They've got nothing to lose.
It's this whole nothing to lose that Norwich will have over the next few games.
Yeah.
And they will upset one of the big boys, but it won't be a top 4 team that they upset.
No.
Okay. I'm going to go with Man United 2-0. Okay.
Where are you getting that from?
Southampton at home to Arsenal. Drew.
Is that 2 goals from the corner, Tony?
Is that Southampton?
Hang on. Bro is allowed to play for Southampton tomorrow, isn't he?
Who?
1-0 Southampton.
Yeah.
What's the game?
Southampton at home to Arsenal.
Oh, wow. And that Bro is playing, is he, or not? Do you see?
Yeah, he's allowed to play.
Yeah, it was only against Chelsea because of it being a parent club. He weren't allowed to play.
I'm going to go 1-0 Southampton as well.
Cornell hat-trick.
No,
Back in the net.
To be honest, right, as much as I'd love to say that Arsenal are going to lose this, right, I don't believe they will. I actually think it's going to be 1-0 Arsenal. It's going to be a very close game, very low scoring game, but I think Arsenal they'll do it 1-0 Arsenal.
Okay, so I'm going to predict. I'm going to predict 2-0 Arsenal. I think we just have to do, because with the next set of games we've got coming, it's a nightmare. This game we have to win. The next game is Watford at home at Brentford. Drew,
who are you going to be playing left back though? It can't be Xhaka again, surely.
It probably will be.
Did you hear his interview, by the way? I quite liked it.
Yeah,
I quite liked it. I respect him for it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I respect him for that. Like,
less said the better.
Yeah, but he's a human being. He's a human being at the end of the day. Like,
yeah.
It's just a football. It's just a football around a grass.
He's just
pitch.
not good at football. Let's just leave it there.
Your own fans, he said, like, it looks like they hate me, as if they want to kill me. I mean, no one should ever feel like that.
I wonder why. So
Drew, Watford at home to Brentford.
Brentford are safe. Watford are crap. 0-0.
Darren?
2-0 Brentford.
Neil?
Same here, 2-0 Brentford.
And I'm going to go 2-1 Brentford.
I'm sorry about my Xhaka comments, people in the group. I'm getting absolutely vilified. I don't watch him enough.
Cool Kate, I don't actually smoke, but yeah, Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Yeah, but
just
like a giant pimp cigar, maybe. Just like a
Okay, so on Sunday, guys, we got the FA Cup semi-finals. The other game at Wembley, which is a 4:30 kickoff. Chelsea playing Crystal Palace. What's your prediction, Drew?
Well, Chelsea have already made sure that Palace won't have their second best player on the field, so Chelsea win.
Or is it Chelsea?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Chelsea Palace, but Gallagher's not allowed to play because Chelsea are being bitches like that at the moment. So
yeah, 2-1 Chelsea.
3-0 Chelsea.
Gallagher starts the press, doesn't he? So
I'm going to go 2-1 in extra time to Chelsea. Oh, Andy's there.
Oh.
So let's keep going while he's coming in. Newcastle at home to Leicester in the Prem. Drew?
Leicester don't need to win this game.
Yeah, Europa League hangover.
Newcastle 2-0.
Yeah. Newcastle 1-0.
I'd say that's going to be 1-1 draw. A 1-1 draw.
I'm going to go with Newcastle 1-0. Hey, Andy.
Right, Andy.
Hi, Andy.
Technical. Then the next game is West Ham are playing Burnley. I don't know why both these games are at 2:15. I guess it's to allow that there's no clash with the Premier League.
Yeah.
With the FA Cup game. But yeah, West Ham at home to Burnley. Drew?
So, firstly, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself and my missus when I say this. She is a Burnley supporter. I hope Burnley get absolutely destroyed for the way they've just sacked the best thing that's ever happened to that football team in Sean Dyche, quite frankly.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to improve by changing their manager.
It's too late. There's not enough games anyway to make that big change anyway. So
So I hope West Ham 4-0. Quite frankly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope they get pumped as well. I'm going to go 3-0.
I'll say 2-0. It's 2-0 West Ham.
You're getting 2-0 West Ham. Okay.
Get the Americans out of our league.
Yeah. Just more oil money, apart from when they're richer than City.
Mic check. Andy, mic check. Mic check, Andy. Can you hear me, Andy? Sound check. Check 1 2 1 2. Anyway, for me, I'm gonna predict an unusual one because I just think Burnley have got the smallest chance of jumping out of the bottom three. And West Ham are on a high after the game they played on Thursday. Maybe there's an opportunity for Burnley to just sneak a win in this. You know, West Ham's results in the Prem have been all over the shop. They've not shown the consistency of last year. So I'm going to go with Burnley to win 1-0.
Wow.
I can hear you.
1-0. Wow.
So he can't hear us. Andy can hear us.
Yeah, but I can hear his mic making a load of noise. Yeah, he's going to go out and come back in, hopefully.
I think we need to start doing lessons in Makaton so we can communicate in case we have a sound problem. Be like some weird middle-aged Mr. Tumbles, but... Sure, I actually found out this week, by the way, and this is actually quite troubling for me as a City supporter, but I found out Mr. Tumbles is actually a Man City fan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is not a proud fucking day in my life, to be honest.
Andy might.
So before we come back next week Friday, there's a couple of tasty midweek games starting on Tuesday with Liverpool at home to. I
wonder who's he gonna say.
Okay, so yeah, Liverpool are at home to Man United on Tuesday night. Let's have a prediction, Drew.
Do you know what? I can't remember I'm going to say this.
Drew, don't say it.
Well, do you want me to change my prediction to so Northwest solidarity for the city of Manchester, even though you're not in Manchester?
I'm on the outskirts, right?
I'm pretty sure Anfield's nearer to the city of Manchester. No, I genuinely think, I don't know what it is with United, they do actually seem to raise their game when they play against Liverpool. So I actually think United will nick a point.
Didn't we lose 5-0 to Liverpool?
Yeah, but up until that point, you've been raising your game over the past few seasons. Look, right, I'm trying to throw you a bone here. I'm trying to be supportive.
I don't need the support. I don't. To be honest, that group of players, I wouldn't be bothered if we did get beat 5-0 at the moment.
Well, no, quite honestly,
I know that sounds really weird.
We kind of want to see Pogba get an extension. So,
Darren, it's fair to say that you predict a win for Liverpool in that game, then, yeah?
I'm just trying to think of how many. 3-1. Just going to go 3-1 Liverpool.
Okay, before I go on to Neil, very quick one. Darren, there was a question posed to you a bit earlier. Marcus Rashford, what do you do with him in the summer?
Look, all I want is for Ten Hag to be able to do what Ten Hag wants to do. And if he looks at Rashford and thinks he's not right for my system, then as much as I love the boy and I like the way Man United bring through players and stuff, I don't want him to go. So I'm going to say that I don't want him to go. But if he doesn't fit what he wants, I don't want him to shoehorn him in, if that makes sense, just because he has to play him. So I want him to fit what we're trying to do. I want him to stay. I think he's good enough to stay, and I think he's a very good player. There's a very good youngster there.
I think Rashford could fit in Ten Hag's system.
Hopefully, I'm hoping so, because the best thing about Man United for me is our youth and the amount of players that come through and make it, and the stars and stuff. I love that about Manchester United. So
we've got to wait for.
I want nothing more than him to do well, but I don't want it to be at the detriment. I don't want him to be coming in, week out, just because he's Marcus Rashford. I want him to earn his place.
Neil, what's your prediction? Obviously, Liverpool win somehow.
Yeah, I think that'll be a 2-0. It's going to be it depends on what happens tomorrow, to be honest. If we get knocked out, Klopp is definitely going to be looking to win that game. So I say 2-0 Liverpool.
Is not Man United, the Man United game, more important than the semi-final tomorrow?
God, it's about trophies, Tony.
Personally, I think personally, I think the Man United game is more important, but the FA is the one cup that Klopp has not won. So it's
okay.
It'd be nice for him to win all the domestic cups before he leaves the club, because he's only got like less than 2 seasons left, to be honest. So
Andy, what's your prediction for that midweek Premier League game between Liverpool and Man United?
Well, as Drew mentioned earlier, United have got apart from very recently, United have got a pretty good record against Liverpool over a period of time. But I just look at the Man United team this year, and before anyone says anything, like this was Spurs 4 or 5 months ago. So I'm not making any big deals about it. But I just look at that United team at the moment, and unless they blow my mind, I can't see any way they get anything at Anfield at the way they're playing at the moment. Now, they could surprise everybody and just everyone perform on the one night because it's Liverpool, because they want to make sure Liverpool don't get.
There's a lack of wanting to win. So I think there's too many people that are looking at their next club. They just think they don't care anymore. I genuinely think they don't care anymore, some of them.
That's what it looks like.
I'm just going to put it out there. I see this as the game where Harry Maguire puts himself in contention for the PFA Player of the Season, but I'm so sorry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and yet
the boy go back to 10 o'clock next week.
And yet Maguire was brilliant in the Euros generally.
Yeah, no. I think
this is what I don't get. But I've heard people say no. Oh, it's because of him having to play on the left-hand side at United. He's not so strong. He plays on the left side of the defence for England as well. Because John Stones can't play to the left, because John Stones is genuinely, he only has a right foot.
People say this about defenders, though, that they get. But what happens is certain defenders have certain limitations. If they play in a certain system, those limitations can be covered. If they're not protected by the central midfield, i.e., the guys like Fred and McTominay and Pogba and whoever in front of them, then a guy that doesn't have a lot of pace like Maguire will get exposed, and then he's got a problem. If you protect him properly and all play a system to play to Maguire's strengths, then he's going to look pretty good. As we
Case in point was David Louise playing for Chelsea is a third man of a back three. He won Player of the Season. The only reason he was in the Team of the Year is because he had two other players doing the doggy work, and he just was left to pass it around like a Brazilian player.
You're not asking.
Played him in the right system.
He was the libero.
They played him in the right system because they knew he was rubbish at the back. He's rubbish defender. David Luiz is a rubbish defender.
And I tell you what, it's funny you mention him because that's what Arsenal have missed the most since
him.
What, a rubbish defender? You've got Ben White.
No, you missed a what? You've got loads of those.
You've got it bang on right, Darren. He can't defend for crap. But what he could do was play a 60-yard ball like nobody else in the team. And now Arsenal have not got a single player who can spray a ball.
But I would not say you missed David Luiz. Come on.
You should take Dyer at Spurs for an example. Play him in a back four. He gets exposed regularly. Play him in the back five like he does with Conte, with Romero and Davis or whoever with him. And he looks great generally with Dyer with Spurs. But you play him in a back four, he gets exposed time and time again. And so this is what you get with players. You have to... The players are used to playing a certain way. They grow up playing a certain way. And if you try and put them in, they just look like fish out of water in the wrong system. But, I think Maguire is a good defender, but he has to be playing in a system that suits it. Simple as that.
Yeah, he's become a very easy target for us to talk to everyone take the piss. In particular, I love taking the piss out of him, but
because there's lots of other bad players doing their jobs properly as well.
Manchester United are a mess. They've got no support from the midfield. There's no support from the forward defending. There's no one's defending. So everyone's going to blame the defenders, but there's so much wrong.
I don't particularly blame Fred for your midfield's lack of ability. I think McTominay's more of a problem than Fred, but McTominay gets a lot less shit than what Fred gets.
Fred's been good, man. Fred's been playing well. He's one
as a forward,
to be honest. He's doing well. Fred's been doing well.
Yeah, whenever I see McTominay though, he's running through treacle. He's just.
I like McTominay. I like him. I mean, he's a squad player. He's a squad player at best.
Guys. So same system. Drew, Darren, Neil, Andy now, and then myself. So on Wednesday night, little game called Arsenal away to Chelsea. Drew.
Chelsea 3-1.
Chelsea 3-0.
Sorry,
Arsenal fans in the group.
Yep, sorry, Chelsea 2-0. They're playing too strong at the moment. And they need to bounce back.
Well, Chelsea haven't played. Chelsea have obviously had Champions League this week. They've got Palace on Sunday, haven't they, in the FA Cup? So, this is obviously one of the Arsenal game in hand, isn't it? Away at Chelsea. I can't see Arsenal winning. I wouldn't be shocked if Arsenal nicked a point. But I can't see Arsenal. I can't see Arsenal winning. My belief is that Chelsea will win. But what I'm saying is, I believe it will be Chelsea 2-0, 2-1. But I can't. But I wouldn't shock me if Arsenal got a point.
So basically, Andy, you don't want to spare it up for your own team. You don't want to say Chelsea are going to win.
Quite simply, Arsenal haven't got enough players to put a challenge up against Chelsea. So I expect Chelsea to win 2-0. The next game is Everton at home to Leicester. Drew?
Everton 1-0.
Wow, really?
I don't think Leicester can't qualify for the Champions League through the Premiership, but they can qualify through winning the Europa. I think Leicester now are going to be focusing on winning the Europa League. So I think there's a chance that Everton beat them now.
Wow. Okay, Darren.
He's opened up a can of worms there. 1-1.
Neil.
2-1 Everton. The only reason why I say that is I agree with what Drew's saying, and at the same time, Everton have their back up against the wall now. They can't afford to get relegated. They're going to be playing. They're desperate now. They're really desperate.
The Europa League thing is massive. To be fair, it's all eggs in that basket, isn't it?
Andy.
The Europa League is big, except for the fact I would say that they don't have a Europa League game next week, obviously, because they're playing Everton midweek, and then they'll have a league game on the Saturday, and then it will be the Europa League. So my guess is if they're going to put a weekend side out, it's more likely to be at the weekend before the Europa League game rather than in the midweek against Everton.
Yeah.
But obviously Everton had a good result against United. I expect that should give them a lot of confidence.
I don't necessarily think it's the team they'll put out. I think it's more the mentality.
I just see that Leicester generally are looking a lot better now than they did a few months ago, and I think that they won't want all their performances to go to crap before the Europa League game. They'll want to maintain a level. I could see that being a draw, 1-1. I'll go 1-1.
Okay, so what I'm going to say is what you have to bear in mind is Everton have no game this weekend. Leicester played on Thursday night. They then play on Sunday. They then play on Wednesday. They then play on Saturday. So the whole fixtures have piled up for Leicester. They're going to have to rest some players. Yeah. The decision is which game do Leicester weaken their team? For me, I would say they're probably likely to rest some players against Newcastle this weekend.
Yeah.
Then play a strong team against Everton, because if I'm looking at getting points, I've got more chance of getting points against Everton than I have against Newcastle, and then strengthen it back up maybe for the weekend fixture after that.
Exactly what I said, so.
Yeah.
In less words.
Okay. But you didn't mention that they're going to be playing 3 games in the time that Everton are playing 1. So yeah, I actually still think Leicester will win, even with a weakened team, because I just don't rate Everton right now.
I rate Everton for one reason, and it comes down to Richarlison doing keepy uppers with his head against any fullback he wants to now.
So yeah,
including the best fullback in Manchester.
I'm going Everton. I'm going Leicester 2-0 on that one. Next game is Newcastle at home to Crystal Palace. Drew.
2-1 Palace.
1-0.
2-1 Newcastle.
I think I'll go 2-1 Newcastle as well.
I'm going to go 2-2.
Cool.
And then we've got Man City at home to Brighton. Drew?
7-1 City.
6-1 City.
We got to get our goal difference up now. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it's going to be like 4-0 City.
I don't see it. So I'll see City win, but I don't see a huge scoreline. I'll go 2-0 City.
That's the last time I back Spurs for anything, Andy.
Well, I'm still saying you're going to win.
Where's your confidence, though? Come on.
I just think Brighton have just beaten Arsenal. They're going to come to Spurs.
Man City at home against Brighton. There's got to be at least 4 goals in that. So I'm going 4-0 Man City.
Remember,
not going to lie, this time last season we actually lost to Brighton. So
well, that's what I'm saying. City have had a string of very, very tough games. Liverpool last week being kicked to death at Atletico. Then they're going to have Liverpool again on Sunday, and then they're going to go again against Brighton. I'm not saying they have the squad to do it.
We need to highlight the fact of we didn't actually get kicked to death at Atletico. We spent a lot of time avoiding being kicked, but then acting like we were kicked.
Yeah,
we finally played the European game.
The European way.
Yeah.
So then the last game of midweek is Burnley against Southampton. Drew, Burnley are home.
Again, I hope it's an absolute thumping and Southampton 4-0.
Okay.
2-0 Southampton.
2-1 Southampton.
Well, it depends what Burnley do between now. Who do they appoint for the rest of the season?
Who the hell wants that job?
Are they bringing in Big Sam for the last 7 games?
Oh my God! You know he's on the treadmill right now, like doing like a brisk walk. Just talking on his mobile phone.
I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to go 1-0 Burnley.
Oh.
And I'm going to join you on that one, Andy. 1-0 Burnley for me. I just think, I want to see it go right down to the wire between Burnley and Everton down to the last game. And that's, that's just for the Premier League entertainment.
I don't want it to do that because we played Burnley with two, like the second from last game of the season. And I would like it done and dusted by then.
Oh God, that's when you're going to Spurs it up.
We'll beat Arsenal and then lose to Burnley. That's what will happen.
Oh dear. So guys,
worst thing is I'm envisaging this now as well. If you cost me 50 quid, I'm going to be pissed.
We concluded our business for the day with great aplomb. It's been great fun. Andy, because you come in late, going to give you the last chomp to say what was your feelings about the week. You missed the talk where I was salivating about how good Kulusevski is, and how good I thought the Man City Liverpool game was last weekend. It was just one of the best games of football I've seen. So give us your thoughts on the week.
Well, the City Liverpool game was obviously fantastic to watch. Great game. Often big games are often disappointments that they don't always live up to the hype. But I knew that with City and Liverpool playing the way they do, it was going to live up to the hype. The only thing about it was what was weird. It was incredibly pulsating and a fantastic game, but there was a little bit of a lack of quality in a lot of it because there was so much pressure from both sides that nobody had any time on the ball whatsoever. And actually, a lot of people were giving the ball away and miscontrolling things more than you usually see from those two teams. Particularly
down to nerves, man. Down to nerves.
Sorry?
Still, though, both teams have over 85% passing in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do sometimes wonder who does these statistics because I look at the statistics sometimes and think, really? Were they watching the same game as me? I don't know.
Okay, so his name's Boris. He lives in a really nice house in London. He gets his mate Rishi to compile the figures for him, so they're bang accurate.
They follow the science. That's what they do. They follow the science.
These were the non-don stats. These were, yeah.
Rishi does it tax-free.
But yeah, no. So yeah, I mean, City lived wonderful game. City should have won. Simple as that. They should have won, but they didn't. And fair play to Liverpool for hanging in there and taking their chances when they did. You argue that if you do that against City, then you deserve a result, and they got it. But for me, I believe City were the better side on the day, and they should have won. And I don't know what Mahrez was doing in the last minute because. If you were going to pick someone other than De Bruyne to want in that position, Mahrez is the person you would want in that position, and he just messed it up. But just one of those things. But fantastic game. Obviously, hope that the semi-final is another fantastic game tomorrow. Weirdly, I kind of want City to win the Champions League, but I'd quite like Klopp to win the FA Cup to complete his set as well. I think they're the two greatest managers have had, this generation certainly, and it would be good for both of them to get something that they haven't got. But if that's City, Liverpool, and for Spurs, then I would say, well, obviously I was deliriously happy. I mean, Villa, quite frankly, should have been 3-4-1 up at half time. I mean, we were fortunate to still be ahead at half time because they had so many chances. But then second half, we put it to bed and were quite clinical. And we deserved the victory. Son, clinical finishing. I think he had 3 shots. All 3 were on target. All 3 were goals. I mean, that is like 100% success rate. He is sensational. Kane obviously knows how to find him, and Kulusevski has just really given us an added dimension which we just didn't have before he arrived. It must be frustrating for someone like Moura, who played all right and would give you a good game every 1 in 3. But Kulusevski seems to be very consistent. He always seems to play decent. He has some games better than others.
Just out of interest with Kulusevski, what is the fee that is agreed for a buyout for?
Well, it's a really weird. I mean, as a lot of the deals during COVID have been all around the world, a bit like with the various ones we've done with Ali and Ndombele and Celso. We've done some very strange deals, but Kulusevski, he's on loan. We have the option to buy him. I believe if we make the Champions League, I believe we have the option to buy him for 25 million this summer. But if it goes to the following summer, it can be 40 million or something. Or it's the other way around. We have the option of buying for 40 million this summer or 25 million the next summer. I can't remember which way around it is. But
whichever way round it is, you take him this summer, though, don't you?
Well, I think for what I've read is that we will buy him this summer for 25 million. I believe. I think if we leave
either fee, it's worth the money.
Yeah.
At either point, price point is worth the money.
I think if we leave it another year, then I think it becomes a bit more or something. But we'd probably do a negotiation with Juve anyway. But I mean. The fact is, I think it's in our hands to make the deal this summer, and I think we will do it.
I mean, Juve are going to be looking to clear some money, aren't they, so they can take Pogba back by the looks of it. So,
well, yeah, I mean, they've obviously spent a lot of money on Vlahovic, and that was the only reason we got Kulusevski and Bentancur, was because they wanted the money. They needed to clear the wages and have the money guaranteed in the bank, if you like. Even if it's future money, they wanted that in order to be able to pay for Vlahovic. They're obviously going to have to do more. I mean, there's talk of Dybala. Both Arsenal and Spurs are sniffing around Dybala. I can't see Dybala going to Arsenal if Arsenal aren't in the Champions League. Just like I couldn't see him coming to us if we weren't in the Champions League. I think Champions League, to get some of the superstars, is going to be huge. I know Conte wants Rudiger. Now, Rudiger's holding off signing a deal. And I do wonder whether, if we make Champions League, whether Conte will really go all out to try and get Rudiger over the line. Because I know he wants him. He desperately wants him. But, we'll see what happens. I think if we can make top 4, then a whole load of options become available to us that weren't available to us 3 months ago.
Did anybody ever have that set?
What's that?
Tone, why would he leave Chelsea to go to Spurs? No disrespect, but what's the? Is it just
he's leaving Chelsea anyway, isn't he?
Is he? Is he definitely? Is he?
Well, he's out of contract, so he's on a free. So
they can't negotiate a contract at the moment anyway, though, can they?
Chelsea can't negotiate a new contract with him.
Oh, of course, yeah.
They will by the end of the season, though. I'm pretty certain.
Possibly. But they've already indicated they won't pay him what he wants.
It's the big contract thing, is it? It's the last big contract. You don't have a transfer fee.
Yeah.
So he's likely to get.
Oh no, I just don't see it where he doesn't end up at PSG or Real Madrid.
That's
this
the thing,
summer.
yeah, because they'll offer him $500-600 a week.
Well, but he wants. I believe that he wants to go to Barcelona. That's his first choice. But Barcelona won't pay him what apparently Spurs.
They're broke.
Legally, they can't pay him, can they?
Well, exactly.
Yeah, they're broke.
But what Spurs is max? What Spurs is max?
Sorry?
What Spurs is max for players like him? They can't be that much, can it? 150? 150?
The question is, in the new world of Paratici and trying to keep Conte happy, who knows what Spurs would agree to? We've been known to agree to some strange things over the years. if you can get who you really want.
And if you're getting them on a free, you can do.
Oh, don't get me wrong. It's a signing that it 100% should be made. I mean, if May United
28-year-old centre back.
I don't
you haven't
think
got to pay a transfer fee. Could be worth.
Rudiger and Varane.
Could be worth 8 million a year.
I understand he wants. I understand he wants 300 grand a year. I can't see Levy going that far.
But 300 grand a week.
Sorry, 300 grand a week. Sorry, yeah, sorry.
Can't see Levy going 300 grand a year either.
I mean, that's
not being funny. We pay John Stones 300 grand a week, and I'll tell you what. I would go to London. I'd walk there. I would let Rudiger jump on my back, and I would walk him all the way up to Manchester if he wanted to sign for us.
Mm.
All right,
for that price, he is a much better player than John Stones.
You could do that again and have another backup defender.
All right, we go way over.
Lukaku while you're at it.
Just add it to the stockpile, mate.
Everyone's.
I like the way we're saying it. You've literally got.
Don't do it.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Listen, we've gone way over, but I just wanted to bring a little bit of play in because I found this in my collection, and there's nobody else got this game.
I think I have had it in the past.
Is that like one of those Christmas Day stocking fillers that you get?
It is, but actually it's quite decent. So I'm going to ask 2 questions and go around and see who gets this right. Yeah. So, which Premier club was originally formed at Singer's Bicycle Factory?
Oh, bloody hell! Now you're asking.
Singers, did you say?
Singers, Singers.
That's like the old sewing machine, isn't it?
Anyone care to have a go at that one? Singers. Think about where the sewing industry was.
That was up north.
Yeah.
That was up north.
Sure, I've got a really nasty feeling this might make me look like look like an idiot in a second.
Leicester.
No, can't be certain.
I think Birmingham.
Nottingham Forest. No, and we said Premiership, didn't we? Nottingham Forest will be Premiership.
Oh, Premiership. Did you say Premiership? Yeah.
No.
Oh. I said Leicester, and Tony's saying I'm close, but no cigar.
I did say Premier Club because it does say Premier Club, but actually they were once in the Premier. It's such a long time.
Nottingham Forest.
No, it's Coventry City.
Coventry.
And I'll give you another one. What was the final score of the 1980 FA Charity Shield?
I wasn't even born.
Really?
No, the 19.
Right, this is the sign of a hard life.
So that would have been West Ham v Liverpool.
Yes, Andy.
West Ham v Liverpool.
Oh, West Ham. Tony Gale with the winner.
No.
I can't remember. I cannot remember that far back.
So, Liverpool 3-1.
Close. 1-0 to Liverpool.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
well, I went with the one West Ham player I knew from that era. So
Darren, you haven't got a chance.
No.
That was following Trevor Brookings' winner against Arsenal in the FA Cup final.
Oh yeah, that's right. So yeah,
football only started in 1992, didn't
it? Guys, thanks very much for joining, and it's been fun tonight. And have a great weekend for the bank holiday. Enjoy your families and the sun.
Yeah, sorry guys, I had family commitments until 10.
That's all right.
I've been out in the sun today, so I think I got a tan. So yeah, have a great one, and we'll see you all guys next weekend.
All right, have a good weekend.
Take it easy.
Bye.